In 1862 Charleston Harbor, the Confederacy had a 147-foot steamer called the Planter, and Robert Smalls looked at it with the calm energy of a man thinking, nice boat. Terrible ownership model. Smalls was 23, enslaved, and forced to work aboard that ship, which became awkward for the Confederacy because he knew the vessel, the water, and the routine better than the men wearing the fancy coats. The Planter was not some canoe with confidence issues. It carried troops, messages, weapons, and enough Confederate self-importance to qualify as cargo. The white officers had a charming little habit of leaving the enslaved crew alone overnight, which, for military security, was less a strategy and more a gift basket. Robert and the other men studied the harbor, the signals, the timing, the guards, and every dangerous mile between the wharf and the Union blockade. On the night of May 12th, the officers went ashore, and in the dark boiler room, the crew began preparing the ship. Because, apparently, freedom sometimes starts with coal dust and nerves. At about 3 in the morning, the Planter slipped away from Southern Wharf and moved through the fog, a giant steamship trying its absolute best to behave like a shadow.
Then came the part no heist movie can improve, as Hannah Smalls, the children, and other freedom seekers boarded quietly, carrying fear in one hand and hope in the other. To pass as Captain Relia, Robert put on the captain's coat and straw hat, proving that sometimes history turns on courage, timing, and a suspiciously useful hat. The Planter moved past harbor defenses like Castle Pinckney, Fort Ripley, and Fort Johnson, while every cannon in the darkness waited for one wrong sound. Near Fort Sumter, Smalls gave the proper signal, and for one breathless moment, the entire escape balanced on whether a guard would believe what he expected to see. The guard let them pass, which means the Confederacy was outmaneuvered by the man it had refused to treat as fully human, a review history filed under catastrophic arrogance. But now, the Union blockade was ahead, and to Union sailors, a Confederate steamer charging out of the fog looked less like hello friends and more like please aim everything. The crew tore down the Confederate colors and raised a white bedsheet. Because when your grand symbol of surrender is bedroom laundry, you use the bedroom laundry. The USS Onward finally understood. The guns lowered, and Robert Smalls delivered the Planter, its weapons, and its priceless harbor knowledge straight into Union hands. 16 people were free that morning, families who had risked everything. In a silence so heavy, you can almost hear it across the years. Smalls went on to serve the Union Navy, pilot ships through danger, and later represent South Carolina in the United States Congress, because apparently stealing one ship was just the opening paragraph. He even bought the house of his former enslaver, which is not a neat ending to the horrors of slavery, but it is one of history's sharper plot twists. So yes, Robert Smalls stole a Confederate military ship, but the real theft was bigger, because he stole back his family, his future, and the right to stand in his own life.